Welcome to Creator Confessions, and I am calling this one March Madness. So, if you've never tuned in with me in the past, I'm Katrina Julia, I'm your host, and once a month I share a really deep dive into Creator Confessions where I spill the real behind the real. Every month, no filters, no fluff. I give you a behind the scenes look from my month across faith, wellness, wealth, marketing, business, travel, community, real life, and you get a peek behind the curtain, so to speak. It's the behind the scenes journey of creating a life and business you love. And I get more personal so that you know you're not crazy, you know you're not alone, because I know there was so many times where I thought I was until I found confirmation, whether that was divine downloads or people that would share their stories, their testimonies, their real raw journeys. At the same time, being very mindful of your time and putting it together in a way that is clear, that is concise, that creates a beginning, middle, and an end. And definitely feel free to share any thoughts, any insights, drop a review. I do shout outs for reviews. And thank you for all the 5-star reviews. And at the same time, keep in mind, it is my Creator Confession. So I may take your feedback or I may choose to keep things in certain ways. And I am constantly changing them. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my newsletter, friends, if you are like me and you are an ambivert or a metavert where sometimes you like to simply read things or you like to listen or you like to drop them into ChatGPT and get a quick summary and you're multi-passionate and neurodivergent, then you definitely want to be on my newsletter because I drop this in a concise form and I'm so proud of myself because it keeps getting more and more clear, which tells me I'm more clear, my spirit's more clear, my actions are more clear, and I see that showing up in my time and my momentum. And that's one of the pro tips or hacks I would say that you evaluate yourself on. So that way you can sometimes just read it on the newsletter. Sometimes you can simply listen, or sometimes you might want to do both, depending on what levels of encouragement you want. And I also heard this month from Alex Hermosi, when you do both, to where you listen to somebody on something and read something that they wrote, then oftentimes things will sink in faster and you learn faster, especially when you are multi-passionate, neurodivergent, have trouble focusing, whatever label you want to create. Because the thing is, you guys, also, we are inundated with information and content and insight and value way more now than we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, our ancestors, etc. So give yourself a lot of grace. And pro tip, actually 2 more pro tips before I dive into this month's episode on this. You may not know this about me. I have never had notifications on my phone. I have never had sound on my phone, any sound, not ringtones, not textings, nothing. Because I realized years ago when the BlackBerry, Crackberry was introduced, that it was literally just that. And then I saw the dangers of the iPhone. As much as I, love it since the iPhone 3, the dangers of literally becoming a slave to your phone and allowing your phone to dictate your priorities as a creator. And the other pro tip I was going to mention is I always track my screen time and I set limits. And people laugh. Like, my mom is usually the only person that I exceed limits on WhatsApp, and also another friend of mine, Misty, recently. And people laugh because they know sometimes that, her WhatsApp time limit kicked in, and so she she'll call back or whatever the case is, right? So people laugh, but it's not funny because those are literally currently the only two people that comes up for me. And as I'm talking to you guys, I'm literally pulling up my screen time to check myself. So this week has been kind of crazy on a number of levels, which I'm going to dive into. So I'm recording this on April 2nd. So I have more screen time this week, and I'll dive into that because I don't want to throw off the whole episode right into some craziness of hashtag lifing that's been happening this week. But usually, for example, hold on, let me, okay, stop it. Week. Okay. So usually, for example, last week, which was more normal, I had about 5 hours, which also isn't so normal because I had a day of travel. My parents and I connected in Thailand on the 21st. So the last 2 weeks are much higher-ish than normal. Although I also have to say that the week before I filmed a ton of content and long form videos. So actually the last several weeks I've been trending about 5 hours on average average per day on my phone. And that counts everything. That counts say 22 minutes on average on Instagram per day, then about 2 hours and 22 minutes on WhatsApp. Like I'm looking, Grab was about 4 hours last week. Let's see, Chrome. So a lot of Googling and or checking emails as I was traveling was almost 7 hours last week. So anyway, my point in all that is set your screen times and set your pickups and look and see what's happening with your pickups as well, from week to week. And my pickups usually average about 60 or 70. And sometimes I purposely put my phone away. So anyway, I kind of derailed. But in any event, let's come back. So in my creator confessions, I get into creator confessions, I get into my creator circle, my creator snapshot, creator events, and creator world, like what's next in my creator world. So what's inside this month's edition? So this month, I stayed really consistent with faith and mindset in March, and I saw that show up in every single area of my life. So what do I mean by that? I mean, it showed up exponentially in my habits. It showed up in my wellness, in wealth, in my consistency in creating content, courses, community, in creating launches, in creating time and maximizing time and using ChatGPT like crazy. I'm going to talk about that. I stayed on track with the wealth series with Transformation Church, watching weekly, which is my official church where I'm a member, and I consistently listen online. And in the newsletter, I also dropped in Don't Get It Twisted, the first part or the first episode in the series of Transformation Church with Pastor Michael Todd. I completed over 80% of duality in Mind Valley in my creator circle, which is in my creator circle and is one of these 75 plus tips, tools, and tech. So also, if you have not heard of my creator circle, it is completely free. You can find it at www.bit.ly/create it like a boss, and the link in the show notes, and simply subscribe. Give me your email in exchange for all the amazing freebies on the 75 tips, tools, and tech, the challenges, the 6 to 8 figure opportunities I drop in there, usually monthly-ish. So many other amazing things in there, collaborations, etc. So highly recommend you head on over there right now, or maybe after the episode. Let me help you focus for my beautiful creative souls. So wellness. I increased workout time again in March. So again, you can see the consistency and the momentum happening. This included a total of 28 active days in March. This is 4 more active days in comparison to February. And if you didn't tune in to my episode for February for Creator Confessions, I also shared how I joined Nirvana Life for the month in February. And so I was super consistent with workouts, with working, with community events. I went to a sober party. I've been sober for over 10 years. I am pinching myself. I almost can't believe it either. It's totally a creator thing as well as me co-creating. I joined the gym TT Batu for the month in March, continuing and maximizing my momentum. And I shared an amazing blog post and video on my YouTube channel. The blog is at fitlifecreation.com/blog. The video is on my Limitless Global Girl YouTube channel. And then the blog is also linked there in the notes. I didn't repurpose that on the podcast because I really felt like it wasn't really doing the content justice for you not to visually see Nirvana Life and TT Batu like you can on the videos or on the video and on my Instagram reels at Katrina Julia Fit or the breakdown on the blog. I stayed consistent with Herbalife nutrition and healthy eating. I also did another biohacking session at Rejuvo Life next to Nirvana Life. I had a second freebie, so to speak, because they ran a 2-for-1 deal for Valentine's Day. I talked about that in my February episode on Creator Confessions. And so I had several hours where I went in March for the sauna, for full body red light therapy with a vibration plate, and cryotherapy. So that was absolutely amazing. I also loved that I stayed consistent with Herbalife nutrition and healthy eating and cooking. And some of you are going to laugh at me. I used Express on Grab, which is like Uber in Asia, for the first time. So normally when I order Herbalife nutrition all around the world, I'll go to the distribution center, pick it up, or factor it into running errands. However, when I ordered it this last time, it was over an hour away from me because I was staying in Ubud, and it was in Denpasar. And I was like, that's not really an efficient use at all of my time to go back and forth 2 hours. And I really didn't have anything else on the way to do. And I was like, my time will be much better used working. And I count my time so consistently now on ClickUp, and then I analyze it on ChatGPT every single week by categories. And so I also analyze it for return on investment. So if basically I give it a range to calculate the ROI from $50 to $700+ an hour. So, that way some people may relate more. And then also me focusing on being and becoming a millionaire. So that's roughly $700 an hour. And so I constantly think about, okay, is this really the best use of my time? Or how can I double stack habits? Or how can I, think like a millionaire or a multimillionaire or a billionaire? And so I used Express for the first time, where I ordered a driver to go pick up my Herbalife. You guys, it's the best thing ever. And then I used it again before I left Bali to come to Thailand. So number 3, wealth. I increased alignment and flow with finance. I increased receiving in March with money received from Expedia. There's also an incredible travel collaboration where you can create consistent cash with Expedia. It's in my creator circle. I've talked about it in previous episodes. Now I'm giving you a little bit less information, and the links are there. Essentially, it's UGC, user generated content. They pay you a flat rate per videos that are accepted. And I've already received over 4 figures with them. Not over 4 figures, 4 figures. I'm on the verge of being over 4. Tracking momentum with wealth creation via ChatGPT. So I've created, you guys, a number of different ChatGPT chats that I have for creator to CEO, creator to CFO, creator to COO, and creator to CMO. And that's Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Marketing Officer. And I functioned within all of those roles depending on what I've created or doing or what companies I've worked with. in strategy, finance, and operations. And I shared an incredible blog post, incredible video, and podcast episode on those 4 roles. So you're going to want to check that out. And also within my creator templates and creator school, I dive even deeper into each of those roles. And within creator school, I am going to be including those ChatGPT chats and the prompts and the structure as bonuses. So like that alone will save you hours upon hours upon hours. And stay tuned for the rest of this episode, because I am going to share how much hours ChatGPT has literally helped me create. So improved alignment with project management and launches massively. I'm constantly asking myself, like, where am I investing my time? Where can I better prioritize for purpose, for passion, for profits? And then how can I automate? How can I use AI? How can I use, tech in general and teams? In the month of March, I scheduled out brand outreach over 90 days, you guys, literally, with an amazing tool called Apollo.io, and I'm a partner, an affiliate of theirs. And in my 75 tips, tools, and tech, I share that link with a special promo offer. And in my Creator to Cash toolkit with the link in the show notes, I also share an incredible blog post on launching like a boss, where I break down brand outreach, email outreach, blogging, long form content, social media, repurposing, AI tools that you can use to clip videos in seconds. I completed estimates with conversions and forecasts for 2025, also using ChatGPT on steroids. And then, like I shared, I used ChatGPT like crazy for wealth creation and money management. So, for example, with cash flow, I'm tracking so some of you may or may not know, I'm also a CPA, a certified public accountant. At the same time, I've helped brands generate consistently 6 to 8 figures. As a corporate executive, I got up to 6 figures. As a creator, I've gone through so many ups and downs and roller coasters and scarcity mindsets and humbleness and leaning on family, leaning on debt, and realizing where I had and or have and or processing and or working through so many mindsets with money. Okay. And so as I've taken on more and more and more responsibility, it's me. Hi, Taylor Swift, I'm the problem. It's me. I started realizing, wait a minute, ChatGPT can also help me massively, not just with wealth forecasting and wealth creation, but also with money management. Like if I drop in what's my cash flow for the week, what, is coming up, what's due this week, and also how, what can I strategize? What can I create? What can I delay? So so many different ways you can slice and dice ChatGPT. Like I talked about the creator to CEO, CMO, COO, CFO, but this is on a deeper granular level for you to get really, really intimate and start really digging deep into your finances and your habits. So this has helped me even more look at self-sabotage, look at, smart money moves, look at, things that I can shift, whether it's, food costs, transportation costs, gym costs, whatever the case is. Like this month in April, I, increased transportation costs and food costs because I'm also traveling with parents through Thailand. But at the same time, I decreased investment in the gym. So you heard me talk about in March, I invested in the gym, and in February, but then now, right now in Chiang Mai, I'm staying at a place with condos that have the gym included, and I've been uber consistent. Okay. So if you haven't yet, one of the launches that I am focusing on massively in March into April is influencer marketing like a boss. And I dropped an incredible blog post, and it's also going to be an incredible podcast episode and video on my YouTube channel. 8 million for 30 seconds, question mark. why brands are ditching Super Bowl ads for influencers. And I dive super deep into the comparisons, the return on investments. And this is piggybacking off of my influencer marketing series, my influencer marketing course, 5 Steps to Build Your Brand with Influencers, that is part of Creator School. And I have a free influencer series that you can dive into, a free influencer webinar that gives you a preview into the course and Creator School. And I'm reaching out massively to brands that have previously invested in Super Bowl ads to position their either existing ads and or an entire year of influencer marketing with retreats, with a team of influencers, with UGC, and more. So definitely check that out if you're a creator and or want to be and or in the influencer marketing space, or a brand that may be interested. And then speaking of what I was talking about with finances and money in the newsletter and or on the show and or my blog, you can find an incredible resource on how to make and manage money like a boss and what you need to know. And I dove into tips, tools, tech, steps, my 6-pack of wealth, and a lot more. Time management. So I talked about earlier how I track time on ClickUp and I summarize on ChatGPT. So if you didn't yet read the blog or listen on the show or watch the video where I take you behind the scenes on my YouTube channel on 10 creator templates you must have as a creator, you are missing out. So depending on if you want to read, go to the blog, fitlifecreation.com/blog, or my YouTube channel to see all the behind the scenes, Limitless Global Girl, or just scroll back a couple episodes before this one and you can hear me talk all about it. And with that in mind, when I summarized my March breakdown, I spent about 35% on brand outreaches and pitches. And keep in mind, I've now scheduled them out 90 plus days to over 10,000 plus contacts on Apollo. On top of that, I'm still massively reaching out on a daily and weekly basis. For example, today alone, I found over 700 direct contacts for brands, for Bali Real Estate, for previous Captivate clients, like L'Oreal, it was L'Oreal with some of them. There were several others too that aren't coming to mind right now. L'Oreal I just looked at like recently. But anyway, I'm also a partner with Lumanu, which is an incredible influencer marketing platform that pays influencers early. And I can attest to that because I worked on a project through the platform called obvious.ly that deals in influencer campaigns with brands like Google and Amazon. And I worked with them on both of those. And recently they partnered with Lumanu and I got paid literally within days of finishing up the collaboration, I think. And I sent them over 20 plus leads because even when I work with brands, our influencers, I don't manage the payments other than the payments we get. And I often partner with either platforms like Tribe or others. And that's why Lumanu was a great fit for me to partner with and send leads, because it's like, hey, you can handle the payments on this end once we send it to you, or the brand sends you that portion. And then we manage ABC 1, 2, 3, the project management of the campaign, the influencer sourcing, and or partnering with the platform, etc. So, second bullet point, marketing, monetization, and email sequences, 25%. I'm going to talk about how far ahead on that I am and what tech and tools I'm using. And within my newsletter, if you subscribe, I have a beautiful graphic that was literally created from ChatGPT on this in my brand colors, fuchsia, turquoise, and green. Content creation and ads was about 15%, finances and business strategy about 10%, fitness and wellness about 10%, personal, social, travel about 5%. That doesn't account for fully some increased time on travel and family time the last week of March. I think the graphic or ChatGPT forgot about some of that because I'm looking at this like, I think you're a little low on that. But then again, it's for the full month. So I think that's pretty accurate actually, because the rest of the month I dedicated a lot of time to work more so. Number 4, marketing and business. So I added and created a checklist to really help myself focus on a weekly basis by priority that ties into my project management creator templates with brands. So high impact, high influence, high income, emails, blogs, videos, and social media. And then I created the Creator to CEO ChatGPT chats I talked about. I also saved and or created, depending on how you look at it, over 100 hours in March alone with AI, you guys. Like crazy, crazy, crazy. So when you look at, say, 90 to 110 hours saved on the low end at $50 an hour, that's an impact of $4,500 to $5,500. Literally, like when I start to look at time as money, my time is money, right? That's on the low end that some, in general may relate to, or at the high end where you really start to look at yourself as a CEO, as a millionaire, as a multimillionaire, and get in that mindset and get in that habit on where you're spending your time, where you're investing your time. What type of conversations are you having? Who are you having them with? Who are you letting in your ear, in your space, in your mind, in your spirit, in your energy? So at $700 an hour, when I look at 90 hours to 110 hours created and or saved and are generated, that's between a $63,000 impact to $77,000 in the month. Now, did I receive that money in this month yet? No. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother testimony coming on down the line. However, I'm operating in that mindset, in that space now. So I am, and with how I'm tracking my time and my return on investment, it is shifting me in so many ways. Like there are things I will not allow, do not engage in. I'm quick to tell even my most closest loved ones, like, hey, can we change the subject? Hey, I'm not interested in that. Hey, I understand you want to talk about that or you want to gripe about that, but let's, shift to a different note. Let's focus on this place, this country, whatever the case may be. And the same way I said it to you just now, I say it in the same neutral tone. Like I'm unavailable for this. You, so-and-so, whatever, may choose to engage in these kinds of conversations or news or whatever the case is, but no, I choose not to. But will I create an extra hour or two to, say, watch The Godfather with my family? Absolutely. Because I know I've saved all this time. And then I also know that's precious time for us to bond and marinate over like a masterpiece. Like what my mom, dad, and I watched 3-part series in Portugal too, several years ago. So when I look at that ROI, it's 384,900%, you guys. So a $20 monthly investment or $25 for ChatGPT literally generates that on the $700 hourly level. It's crazy. Okay. Then in the month of March, I mapped out 5 tasks for VAs. I've used virtual assistants for over 5 years already consistently. And in corporate America, I always scaled with tech and teams in the same mindset. I always functioned as an employeepreneur, so to speak. I scheduled out, I mentioned the brand outreach. I completed over $4.3 million in direct brand proposals. And that's not counting the outreach that I talked about I scheduled, or that I set up automated sequences with both emails and LinkedIn connections on Apollo. Okay. P.S. I have creator template bundles with all of my templates where I track things like this. And that's in reference to the episode that I mentioned earlier too. Okay. Then let's talk about content creation. My email's doing something funky here. Okay, so I completed 30 plus emails in Kajabi, including scheduling out to early May. So roughly between 45 to 60 days out now, you guys, insane. And this is all part of all the hours of ChatGPT and then me channeling that focus and that energy into pre-scheduling, into creating instructions, into handing it off to a VA next so that I have more time to create other things. I mapped out emails for influencer marketing and creator school launch. I also completed over 4 blogs in March and scheduled them out over 30 days. Okay, some of the blogs in March included the ultimate marketing flow for creators in 2025, which has hundreds to thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars of value in that blog post, video on my YouTube, and podcast episode alone. 7 ways to create content like a boss. The Bali edition is on the blog, on the podcast, on my YouTube channel. You can see the alignment, the flow. The $8 million for 30 seconds is on the blog. It was sent out in my emails. It will be on the podcast and on my YouTube channel in April. And then the best gyms in Bali that I referenced. Completed the 4 long form videos, Ultimate Marketing Flow, 7 ways to create content like a boss, best gyms in Bali, 7 creator marketplaces to list your offers, how to write brand proposals for creators, creator templates you must have, and either recorded and or repurposed depending on the episode and the type on the podcast Creator to CEOs, Create It Like a Boss. Shared 17 plus Instagram reels. I grew to 58,000 in reach. That's over 251% growth. I shared 15 plus short videos on YouTube and repurposed on platforms with AI and a tool I use called repurpose.io and Opus Clip, that both are in my 75 tips, tools, and tech in the creator circle. I tested over 3 Instagram ads, with one being at a 25% engagement. Insane. And I combined a clip from AI with a clip from one of my long form videos on the creator templates. And I superimposed in the first part of the ad me dancing. And it's all about the creator template. So you can check that out on my Instagram at Katrina Julia Fit. Within those that content, I also created 2 Instagram swipe files. And I shared about 7 ways I create different and how I got named to be a top 10 creator by Later Media and Visa. And PS, in my free creator circle, in case you missed it, the first time you get the 75 tips, tools, and tech, and 6 plus figure ops that I share. So I submitted for TikTok shop approval and syncing to my Shopify store. So if you tuned in to my February episode on Creator Confessions, you know I launched my Creator Bestie shop on Shopify. And I'm super excited because within the last month, the metrics grew to 86%. I have not had my first sale yet. I also love how Shopify aligns to creators, and I reached out to over 10 creators already on Shopify. And within that strategy and that flow, both for Shopify and my creator templates and creator school, I want to set up a TikTok shop as a brand and start aligning to creators, because as a creator, I don't qualify yet. I did qualify. Then they changed the qualifications. Then I'm rebuilding. No problem. Next, let's create it. Let's keep it moving. Let's shift. And then in the meantime, I realized, wait a minute, there's brands killing it on TikTok shop. What if I shifted the perspective and the strategy and aligned it to Shopify? Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So I'm shifting that now. If you didn't hear about it yet, I still have 4 plus spots left for the creator retreat in Bali for July, and with the influencer management program for brands and or creators. If you sign up for a minimum 3-month program, the retreat is included as a bonus when you sign up before April 22nd. Okay. So pro tip, if you are even thinking about any of that, get on my email list. Shoot me a DM that you want to be on that list for influencer marketing for brands, for management, and or for creators. And or let me know if you want into the creator retreats with Bali, and I can let you know the details, and I will even give you a special promo as a podcast listeners, or maybe both, because if you bring a bestie, I'll not only give you a podcast promo, I'll also give you a 2-for-1 bestie offer. That just came to me. I'll give you both. So moving on to learning. So the other thing is, also as a multi-passionate creator, entrepreneur, I love to learn. But I always challenge myself to create more than I consume. So for any hour of anything I create, I listen to, or even if it's like 15 minutes, doesn't matter. It's like, what 3 minimum actions am I going to take from this time that I invested? Okay. Then the other thing is that I challenge myself on is to consolidate my learning, to focus my learning, and to be really intentional on what voices I'm listening to and how many voices, and to consolidate and make it more and more concise. Because I realized a couple months ago, I had like 7, 8, 9, 10 different things I was listening to, which I love and learn. And that's what I needed. And I was creating out of that. However, my soul kept calling me to consolidate, concise. So that's what I've been doing. And you heard me talk about that earlier. I completed over 80% of duality, and that's the only course I'm in right now in Mind Valley. I completed over 4 courses with Maria Wendt, and I've completed the majority of her 24 and 24 courses, the ones that I felt drawn to intentionally, and or I looked through everything else, listened to key videos, etc. I listened to 7+ videos with Layla Alex Hormozi and took massive action. I listened to his $100 million offers book twice and shifted things massively within the influencer marketing management offers, as well as creator school offers and templates, and how I'm aligning them to my own divine downloads, the wisdom I received from Alex, as well as the Barbie marketing strategy. Okay. Then I'm over 90% complete of the $100 million leads book and the course by Hormozi in March. However, as of April 2nd, which is today, I actually completed them both today. So you can see how I'm really, really channeling and focusing my energy and not letting myself dive into more things until I clear more things. For example, I'm also taking the One Peak Creative 30-day social media challenge. I am in Herbalife nutrition and education there, as well as Peloton. And then I knew that one of my next steps and investments of time and wealth was going to be with the wonderful community. But I was challenging myself like, Katrina, no. Finish the courses with Maria first. Finish the leads and the offers book to align to what's coming first. And then within the Creator School integration and flow, get into wonderful. Okay. So I'm holding true to my word and integrity. Clearing. I cleared my phone to under 200 videos and pictures. I had quite a few last week being in Bangkok with my mom and my dad. I cleared over 300 plus emails to less than 75 in my inbox, with the majority being pending shares for social media. So number 5 is travel. And this is where things get interesting on a number of levels. Okay. So I was just scrolling back up to my newsletter because I use the newsletter as a guide for my voiceover when I do this and or when I record the video. So I kept my travel slow in March for the most part. My original gut feeling was to stay in Ubud Sawa, which was a previous place I'd stayed in with Amy and Yoga, and I have an amazing video about their place on I found a hidden Bali paradise for less than $25 a night on my YouTube channel. And my initial inclination was to stay there. But then I was like, well, I'm joining the TT Batu gym. It's over 30 minutes away because it's closer to Tagalong and Ubud. So I was making a practical / financial decision. But then I stayed in 3 places that didn't really align within 15 minutes-ish. So it didn't require a lot of movement. But lesson learned, like in this case, it made more sense for me to trust my gut and then maybe travel longer, because I ended up staying in a private 2-story villa with only a shared pool with one other like home. And I felt much more aligned and taken care of, and my energy flowed and I got way more done. So it just made more sense on the spiritual, supernatural, and practical level, even though logically on the front end, it didn't seem like that at first. Okay. So in some ways, my intuition and flow has definitely maximized, but in some ways, I'm constantly refining it. And then March 21st, I left Bali to meet my parents in Thailand. So, as you heard earlier, my parents and I have had different adventures in Portugal. I've traveled with my mom on mother-daughter trips. We've experienced quite a bit in Bangkok over the last, 10-ish days, and in Thailand, including being at the DMK airport in Bangkok when the earthquake was happening and feeling it at the airport, which I was literally standing up because I don't like to sit a lot. I like to get up or walk around sometimes. And I was literally standing up. I was, checking my emails, clearing my growth emails, my scale emails. And all of a sudden I started feeling this swaying. And I was like, okay, is that me? Am I getting dizzy? Like, what's happening? And I kind of looked up, and then I saw like other people have this like perplexed or this, what's happening look on their face. And then I looked at some of the signs that were swaying. And if you know anything about, different destinations that are known to have earthquakes, different places, whether it's airports or buildings, their structure or their engineering is designed different, because people know that earthquakes or things can happen there. Okay. So, it stopped after a few moments, and I've never, ever, ever experienced an earthquake, but I knew through the sheer fact that I could feel what I felt, it had to be over a 5 on the Richter scale. And later we found out it was like a 7.3-ish, I think. And then later we saw crazy videos out of Bangkok, and our flight left only about 30 minutes later. Then we landed in Chiang Mai, and I had booked a week at this amazing condo. Chiang Mai has amazing condos. I was here the same time last year, and if you haven't yet checked out my top 10 things to do in Thailand, definitely check it out. And I have an incredibly binge-worthy playlist on Thailand on my YouTube channel at Limitless Global Girl. So definitely check that out. And in any event, we landed in Chiang Mai. We went to, so last year when I was here, I stayed in an amazing condo, D Condo Pink. However, all the Airbnbs only showed 1 bedrooms there. So then I started looking at other options, and I remembered Astra Sky River with a beautiful infinity pool. Literally, that's like a river. Like, my mom even thought it was a river when I was showing her the pictures, literally. I was like, Mom, that's the pool. When we arrived, there was cracks on the side of the building. And funny story, true story, the host did not leave the key. Like, he gave me the instructions for the mailbox. He gave me the key code for the key box in the mailbox. So I knew I was in the right one, and it worked, but there was no key in there. And then I was messaging him like, hey, you didn't leave the key. And I didn't know yet that the building had cracks or whatnot. And he wasn't responding. And, I waited maybe 20-30 minutes-ish, and I had told him before, like, we're checking in between 5 to 6 p.m. Like, we will be there from the airport. Like, so I kept him informed the whole time. So the sheer fact that he was not responding, to me was like, okay, what's happening, right? WTF. In the meantime, I messaged Agoda, which is who I'd booked this particular stay through. So contrary to what you may think, no, my stays are not always free, are not always comped, are not always paid for, via Expedia or Native Living Villa or Bali Agent, like I've shared in the past. In any event, they refunded me immediately. I was looking on Agoda just for like simplicity, travel, helping my parents, all the things. I found an amazing hotel, a brick hotel in Chiang Mai, semi-close to Old Town. But I booked 2 separate rooms for us. What I didn't like they didn't have a kitchen. Like, I love having a kitchen, having more space, feeling like home. So in the meantime, my mom and I were sourcing different places, and I think she actually found this condo, Essent Ville, Chiang Mai. amazing with also a mini pool river on the like ground floor, an amazing gym, no structural damage, and a beautiful 2 bedroom in the condo with that and co-working spaces and amenities next to Central Park Festival Mall with a normal rate of $55 a night, but it's discounted as long as you stay more than a week for under $30 a night, you guys, and it's amazing, like so amazing. In any event, we arrived, like we stayed in another place, Brick Hotel, about 2 nights. We went to the Saturday night market, checked out some things in Chiang Mai, and then switched, here on Sunday, and then ended up having a scare with my mom within hours of checking in here, and dizziness and nausea, and repeating that a couple days later. And thankfully, thank you for prayers. Thank you for well wishes. Thank you for my amazing friends, Angela, Lindsay, Misty, Silvana, Mirella, Priscilla, Shannon, others, my, brother, sister-in-law that, prayed, sent well wishes, encouraged, just all of those things, because at first it was really, 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 like the first day, it was really, really scary for me. I think, any time we are faced with humanity, mortality, somebody that we're used to seeing, as super strong. And I've always looked at my mom in a sense of like being like Superwoman. And she often thinks she is, and we have to tell her to slow down. And, step by step by step, the hospital, like through the experiences, through the visits, I'm still processing a lot. Like I'm still in the midst of it. They took such good care of her and are taking such good care of her. The hospital in Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, is super modern, super clean, super professional. And the doctors that have been taking care of her, thankfully everything has come out clear. It's been like mineral imbalances, different things. She's resting. The prayers and the well wishes are definitely working and have worked. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful to our Creator. Lord knows, and that was one of the conversations I was having with God, that it's like, no, there's no way I'm ready for my mom not to be on planet Earth. No. Like no. Like I don't think anyone's ever ready, clearly. At the same time, I was like, nope, God, like I need to be married first. Like this needs to happen first. Like no. Like no, I'm not. This is not even no. Like it, and of course there were moments where I was scared and I had moments of fear, and then I was reminded of my verse, 1 John 4:18, perfect love drives out all fear. And then I felt this like supernatural peace even before some results on some tests yesterday, that everything was going to be fine. And thankfully it is. And she's, recuperating and resting and getting back to her usual bright self. And then my parents will decide, what they desire to do with Thailand next and what's best for them. So that's been quite an adventure over the last few days since Sunday. Between, let's see, that was Sunday was the 30th and today's the 2nd. So, a lot of times it reminds me like we make plans, and God laughs. I'm sure many of you relate during the pandemic, or many of you relate during super like trying and challenging circumstances and times in your life, whether it's been with health, wealth, business, whatever the case may be, right? So community, I'm continually called to create community online and in real life. And I shared how, last month I created over 7+ events with Bali across March, across May, across June, with co-working, with content, with experiences and creator pop-ups. And I am going to be creating those within Atlanta in August and or September as well, in April. So stay tuned for that. We are on Eventbrite on as Create It Like a Boss, and I may change that to creators create like a boss, or creators like a boss created, not just for SEO sake, because I'm learning so many things across and being reminded supernaturally of SEO and how people search for things. So In any event, if you haven't heard of my creator snapshots, we are now getting into the 7-minute snapshot. And I want to focus on with this snapshot for you to challenge yourself on how are you aligning? How are you aligning in April? Like as we shift into April, how are you aligning across your purpose? How are you aligning across your priorities? How are you aligning across your word for the year? How are you aligning with your launches? Like my word for this year is embodiment. So I'm constantly challenging myself to level up and how I'm embodying a creator, how I'm embodying a CEO, how I'm embodying a millionaire now, even though I'm not there yet. So what are you doing today that aligns or doesn't align? Right? Because that's going to show you where you may be blind, like you may have a blind spot, or where you're self-sabotaging. So what areas could you refine alignment to maximize time? Where, would you see the biggest impact in your life with different actions that align? And then when are you going to schedule those actions? So creator world, what's next? The foundations in 2024 have set up the momentum of January through March and what you're hearing and what you're seeing. And this is years in the making. I did not arrive on, aligning April. Ooh, that's good. That's going to be April's episode. So when April finishes, it's going to be April alignment. Boom. So I am so proud of myself for March in spite of challenges and circumstances and March madness. So there's a lot, like I'm sharing different pieces and different components with wealth and with money. And there's a lot that I'm still processing and it's still happening and that I'm in the middle of. And at different points of time, I will reveal. And that's another thing I want to tell you as a creator, as a CEO, as an influencer, as a business, as a brand. Give yourself the freedom to reveal things at certain points. It's no different than a movie trailer. It's cliff notes, it's cliffhangers. And oftentimes we can be really vulnerable to reveal things like when we're still processing or we're still healing or we're still creating to allow other people's opinions into them. So I share creator confessions, but I share them really, really intentionally and mindfully of also being mindful of myself, my spirit, and my energy. And that's something that I encourage you to be and do the same with anything you share, anything you create, etc. I had no down days in March other than a #life happening with the visits with my mom. And it helps massively that I'm 12 hours ahead in Asia. And, even with me focusing a lot of time on Sunday, at the hospital or, on Monday. Monday I was here, but or on Tuesday or today, I also, A, was focused on what was most important of my mom being better. B, knowing I'm so far ahead with so much. And so A, B, and then C, that like I'm ahead on content. And then I'm also 12 hours ahead, right? So depending on multiple factors with family, I may go to Thailand beaches next or Bali next. So a lot is TBD. Right? And I was the girl years ago that had to know things in advance. Okay. So even for me, a lot of this is supernatural and the fact that I'm okay with it. So what's next? Travel in Thailand, TBD. Continue to refine my time as creator and CEO and the different roles with ChatGPT and ClickUp and project management, influencer marketing with brands and with creators, focusing on a conversion of 3% plus minimum out of the 30% plus that I'm getting engagement on the emails with minimum of 15K plus. Also keeping in mind that cold outreach / that feels like warm sometimes can take longer to convert. At the same time, I'm very intentionally targeting both brands and creators within the timeframes that I know they start to think about Super Bowl budgets, all these things, right? So P.S., everything that I'm about to share after this is also included in the influencer marketing programs, depending on what levels brands and or creators get engaged in, whether it's the 1 week intensive or the 1 week test drive, so to speak, the 1 month intensive, 3 month mega, or the 1 year program. And you can also find out all about that on bit.ly/influencer management. And it's also linked within bit.ly/influencer marketing like a boss, because in the bit.ly for influencer management, when I did it actually bit.ly/influencer marketing like a boss. And if you're on the newsletter, you can see it there. Creator retreats. So focusing on creator retreats, selling out for July with 40K plus with brands, creators, and scaling with retreat leaders. And you can find that at fitlifecreation.com/retreats or the link in the show notes. Creator School, aligning the launches like I just talked about with the business to consumer flow. ChatGPT, the creator bestie, the lifetime bonus, the offers, community of $7,000 plus within less than 30 days. And you can find all about that within the link in the show notes and the newsletter. Ads. I tested 2 to 3 plus ads for 15% plus click-through rates, and ended up having one that is 25% plus, and scaling that and or testing more ads. I talked about the creators with TikTok Shop, the affiliates, Shopify, and onboarding several of those. So that is what is coming up next massively. So I would love to know more insight from you, what you got from this episode, how you feel as a creator, as a CEO, as me sharing as your creator bestie, and leave a review on the show. And as always, remember, create, transform, and inspire, because you are born to.